What's up, YouTube? Mr. LaMessi here, and today we're going to check out the Diablo 4 Inside the Game, Your Class, Your Way gameplay trailer. Let's see what they got for us in here. They've been doing a lot of PR, a lot of marketing, a lot of all this stuff for this game recently. So, you know, just interested to see if we get any more tidbits, any more information about what's coming up. Or if this is just going to kind of rehash things. We shall see. Let's take a look. And I love Diablo 4 cinematics and all these things, so it's cool to just see things.
In the eternal conflict between the high heavens and the burning hells, Diablo 4 offers you more choice than ever before. Player choice is infused into everything, from how you look, the skills you use, the loot you equip, your path through the non-linear story, to how and when you choose to explore the shared open world.
We want players to play their own way and have their own choice of how they're going to build their character.
Between all of our different systems, you can really create a custom character in ways that was not available in previous Diablo titles.
Now, my first thought is, I don't want to interrupt constantly and all this stuff. It feels like they said in ways that wasn't previous or available in previous titles, but I feel like D4 actually has more limits on some of those things. For instance, the builds that you can use, the items that you can use. I do feel like you actually get less option in that. There is more customization in your characters. I 100% will say that. I mean, Diablo 2, you get none, right? So you do get like way more customization there. But the skill trees, I don't think are like crazy big. It's not like you're getting as much, you know. I think of something like Path of Exile where you get, you know, you can link all sorts of things and really have an infinite number of kind of combinations if you really want. There's still the meta and what works well and all that, but you do have a large variety. And then, I don't know, they were just like, there's crafting and there's, you know, getting items and things. And I'm like, yeah, that's in all the games. But I do think you get more customization, and I think what they're probably referring to more so is the idea that there is the open world, and so how much you wish to participate in the open world versus not. So, you know, I do think there is definitely some truth to what they are saying there. But
when you log into Diablo 4, the first thing you're gonna have to do is create your character. And those familiar with Diablo are gonna be very familiar with the screen with all the classes sitting around the campfire.
I do love this screen.
In Diablo 4, we got 5 classes. The Barbarian is your fantasy of a fierce warrior fighter.
The Barbarian is the weapon master of Diablo 4, being able to pick up any weapon, jump into the fray, and do really badass stuff with it.
They're very strong, they're very...
See, but again, like, you can't make a crossbow barb. Anyways,
physical. They can take different weapons for different situations and use them to their maximum effect.
The sorcerer.
Now, one thing I will say about the Barbarian, yeah, any weapon except non-barb weapons. One thing I will say is the difference in the feel of the weapons in Diablo 4 was really solid. Like, I had the mace and then the spear and the swords and whatever, and I loved the bludgeoning effect pound of the mace, and you could 100% feel the difference in that. So I really, really, really loved that in my playthrough. I thought that was one of the best feeling things in the game, was being able to feel what each weapon actually was on the character, and not being like, is it a sword? Is it an axe? Is it a mace? I don't know. It all hits, you know. So I really thought they had really good weight and
Sorcerer is really your elemental mage. You have fire, ice, lightning. You can either focus on one, or you can kind of be a jack of all trades mage and use abilities from all three.
They're a little more fragile than other classes, tend to be more ranged. The rogue, unlike the barbarian, they are a little bit more clever. They're very fast. They have the ability to imbue their weapons with different elemental energies, and they can modify them to do different things.
The rogue has two different types
cool looking
of play
spells.
styles. You have the ranged crossbow type gameplay, or you have the in-your-face daggers, poisons. You can lead the enemies into traps that have huge effects, more stealthy type gameplay. And the druid is really this shapeshifter.
When you cast certain skills, you change your form, what you look like and what you can do. They can turn into...
Oh. Hold on. You're laying... Oh, yeah. Thank you. Edit. No, stop it. Perfect, thank you. All right, we'll continue.
to werebears or werewolves.
I like all the different dismounts for the classes. Also, is that the first time we've seen the druid dismounting?
They can turn into werebears.
I've never seen the druid dismount before. So he jumps off the back and turns into a bear and pounds the ground.
Or werewolves. If I cast a werewolf skill, I turn into a werewolf and I do werewolf things. If I cast like Pulverize, for example, which is a werebear skill, I turn into a werebear, I slam the ground really hard. Fits the fantasy, it's pretty cool. They can also become masters of nature magic with earth and storm magic. Last but not least, we got the Necromancer. They raise armies of the dead. They have different types of minions. You've got your skeletal warriors, your skeletal mages, and then your golem.
You have blood magic or bone magic that you can also take advantage of and tackle combat that way.
Corpse Explosion just going to town on everything. They nerfed it now.
If you've played a previous Diablo game and you enjoyed a certain play style, you
see, like, I don't like the spells of the sorcerer like this. This Frozen Orb looks worse than Diablo 2 Resurrected's. And this ice armor. These are like two of my least favorite
can actually
spells
bring
in the
that
game.
into Diablo
Those two just look so
game
flat.
and you enjoyed a certain play style, you
It's just so
can
flat
actually
to
bring
me.
that into Diablo 4, or just try something completely new.
No matter which class you play, there's going to be multiple different avenues.
But like those look so good.
Or just try something completely new.
No matter which class.
Look at how cool like this looks. That looks amazing. And that looks amazing. So it's like you get some spells like Frozen Orb where it's like, what? And then you have these spells, Bone Prison and Blood Ritual, whatever that other spell is. And it's like so implemented into the environment and just like so fitting and looks amazing. I'm just very confused on the differences in some of the spells.
Be multiple different avenues and fantasies that you can chase.
You can customize your character in ways you've never been able to before,
Joe
with
Shelley's
near endless
eyes are
character
scaring me
creation and transmog options.
In previous Diablo games, you had to be attached to certain archetypes and look a certain way. And in Diablo 4, it's really up to you how you want your character to look.
Oops.
You'll be able to choose from different facial structures from people all over the world. No matter where you are, you'll be able to say, hey, I can actually make someone that looks like me or looks like someone from my part of the world, which we're really proud of.
The only thing that they didn't do, and this probably just comes down to like armor and those sorts of things, is like as a barbarian, you have to be big. Like you can't be a skinny barbarian. You can't be a large rogue, you know? Like those, the structures are all pretty similar and yeah, and I mean like for some people they're gonna love that. I really don't care if I can make my facial structure slightly different, but for some people they're going to love it. They're going to want to be able to bring a character that looks kind of like them into the game. I can understand that being a really cool experience. And there is a lot of like cutscenes and things where you're going to see your character, because remember, that's a big part of Diablo 4 that they like introduced, is your character will be in the cutscenes with your customizations and of course your microtransaction skins that you bought. And so, you know, you're going to see them in that way. But yeah, I wish I could be a thick source, to be honest.
You can pick a hairstyle for your character, and every class actually has a specific hairstyle that no other class can use. You can pick your eye color. We have some really fun ones. We have eye glowing, we have a bloodshot type eye, and then you can actually pick a marking, which is a tattoo or a design that covers your entire character, and there are dozens of those.
Transmog is the idea that you can take a piece of gear and change the appearance of it to look like a different piece of gear. As far as aesthetics, the sky's the limit. However you can think of making your character, you can make it that way.
I think in this game, transmog is actually a cool, good idea. Like, a lot of people want to bring transmog to Diablo 2 and things like that. And I don't know if I like it as much in Diablo 2. I mean, I do, because you can have really cool looking characters, but they just would, whatever. So maybe I actually do like the idea overall. But I feel like there's something to be said for seeing the gear that somebody has on, especially in PvP, being able to see what, they're wearing. I feel like that does have a small piece. But that being said, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I'd rather my sorceress be able to look just like super awesome and wear like heavy armor bases in style, but not actually have to wear a heavy armor base. But I think in Diablo 4, this is actually super cool, because just look at how cool like this stuff looks.
Everybody's going to look completely different in Diablo 4.
Characters just look amazing, and they're 100% correct in that. I don't know if everybody will look completely different, but look how cool everything looks, and it's not like it's just your chest armor that is, changing and matters, right? It's like, this is beautiful. This is really gorgeous right here. I'm not gonna lie.
Make it that way.
This is
Everybody's going to look
amazing with how
completely
cool the
different in
characters
Diablo.
look. And so you don't have to, currently at least, buy skins to look cool. Right?
Diablo 4.
But
One of our pillars for class design in Diablo 4 is this idea that we want
how crazy skins get versus, whatever your character. But at least your character can still look cool. Unlike kind of PoE there, right?
players to play the way that they want to. When you first start the game, we introduce you to the idea of the skill tree. As you level up, you get access to these different skills or passives or upgrades to make your character more powerful.
Each category has a few different skills that are all similar. They're either all defensive or all offensive, all ice or all fire. You can either focus on a very specific section or you can pick and choose.
The first skill point when you unlock a new skill is going to give you access to that skill. After that, you can put additional points into any skill that you have, and it's going to make it better, whether it increases the radius or adds some new effect or reduces the cooldown through some special way.
You can actually branch out in a very different direction, even if two characters actually started at the same place.
This is the one place that I do feel like it is pretty limited, and I feel like it's more limited than previous games. Is the skill tree. I think the skill tree still is so linear in its pathing and so few points that you're really contributing in many of those. And the bigger idea is that things will, you just have a natural tendency for like how they're going to build out anyways. So it'll be like, you'll get fireball, or there'll be just a passive and it's just like 5% more fire damage or whatever. So if you're going to play fire tree, you'll just get that passive and stuff. They went through a lot of iterations of the skill tree. I kind of liked some of the other ones a little more. Like the one that I almost liked the most was the one that was actually shaped like a tree. I don't know if they needed to literally shape it like a tree, but it kind of had more of like branching and spreading. Whereas now it's really gotten into this just linear, you get X points in your starter spell, and then you can get an offensive spell. You put 5 points in your offensive spells, and then you can get a defensive spell. You put 5 points in your defensive spells, and then you can get, it's like the way that it progresses there, I felt like was very linear. And then again, with cooldowns, I didn't even want to pick up a cooldown when I got there, which was super sad. So yeah, I felt like the tree system, the skill tree, does not feel like the play your way, getting all of the choice.
The Paragon board is a late game system that once you've completely filled out your skill tree, you think you have a build, it will really let you delve into the once
All right,
you've
let's
completely
see. Okay. Magic glyph on the side. Next radius increase at level 4. For every 5 intelligence purchased within range. Purchased. But aren't you completing those? What does it mean, purchased? You gain 0.8% increased damage to vulnerable targets. And that says vulnerable enemies take 20% increased damage. Why is damage so situational? That's something that they've definitely done in the game with a lot of vulnerable, nearby, injured, elite, all of this stuff. It's not the choice I would make for affixes. I think keeping it simpler there. You buy the tiles with your Paragon points? Okay, that's what it just is.
You filled out your skill tree, you think you have...
Okay, so they're placing the glyph in that socket, and then
really
it
let
has
you
that range.
delve into the theory crafting and the
see the
depth
willpower,
of
so, yeah.
Diablo 4's skill system.
And
I think the Paragon boards are cool. I'm really interested to get there and try them out further.
these boards, they can move through them, spending their Paragon points, and they have nodes that give them very basic
intelligence,
stats like intellect or dexterity. We also have more powerful nodes.
Next is, okay, this is the, no, for every 5 int purchased within range, you gain 1.1% increased crit strike damage.
We have rare nodes that have different effects where they can totally modify a skill to do something additional or different. Or
28% core skill damage, 10 dexterity, bonus, another 14% core skill damage if requirements met. I do think that is interesting, having the like bonuses, because that will start to push you a little bit towards min-maxing in certain ways, right? Being like, oh, I just need to hit like 20 more, you know, dexterity, and then I'll be able to get this bonus from, you know, this finisher node. And I think those sorts of things are cool. It does definitely feel like the nodes on the path to get there are feeling a little, I mean, this is just like willpower, 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 dex, dex, strength, int, willpower, int, strength, you know, like, and that's so linear. Like, you're going to take all of those no matter what. There's not more paths to kind of go there. You know, and there is a little bit, you know, I suppose, of like how you do this, but like here to this and this and this and this, or this and this is the exact same path, right? I either go this, red, whatever, whatever, same, same. So starting from right here, yeah, same, 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 or same, 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 right? It's like, it's not an actual difference in this. I guess this gives a slightly different ring, maybe, and that's the difference. Potentially. But even like that, and then this, and then this, and then, you know, so it's like, it's really feeling a little linear. And then even like here again, if I go up, over, over, or like over, over, up, it's like the exact same thing, right? These two feel like they need to be different. These two feel like they need to be different. It feels like there needs to be a little more difference in some of these pieces, because a lot of the choices on it doesn't super matter, right? Like, it's the exact same path. And that's a small gripe, but there's definitely a lot to, you know, when you get into like more maybe like these areas and your rings and all of this stuff, like this looks pretty meaty over here. I'd be curious what all is happening there.
or they can even make new connections between skills so that players can have new ways to play their character. Legendary nodes
7%
are equivalent to legendary powers, where they have more powerful effects that can change.
Okay. Let's read this over here. Eldritch Bounty 1 of 6. Board information. Eldritch Bounty. When you attack with an imbued skill, You gain 20% resistance and 20% increased damage for that imbuement's element for 6 seconds. Rare nodes. Potent, 10 dexterity, 15% imbued skill. Dosage, 10 dexterity, 4% potion healing. I'm guessing this is the nodes. Oh, this is all of the nodes on your board. Okay. 6.5% damage over time reduction. 4% resistance to all elements. 2.5% imbuement skill cooldown reduction. Rogue only. 10% non-physical damage. Okay, so that's just giving you all the information about what you have on your board.
The builds and ways that characters play.
Cheap shot, you deal 5% increased damage for each nearby enemy that is crowd controlled, up to 25%. Calculated, 50% damage to crowd controlled enemies, 100 armor. Oppressed, 15% critical strike damage to crowd controlled enemies, 15% damage to crowd controlled enemies. Devious, 15% damage to crowd controlled enemies, 10 dexterity. Why is everything 15%?
You can start planning this long journey of, okay, I want to hit this node, and then I want to hit this node. I'm going to apply this board, and I'm going to start from this side, and really just get into a super complex, very specific build for your character.
Dexterity.
Legendary items are really rare and powerful items that you're going to find as you adventure through the world of Sanctuary. We have quite a few different categories of legendaries and how they do that. Some of them will actually change your skill or enhance it in some way.
Frozen Orb, for example, it might say, hey, every single time you use your Frozen Orb, it applies a new effect. And then I can actually take advantage of that new effect that it has. Even if the item itself is maybe not as good as the one you have, you can still extract that power from it, take advantage of it, and use it for your build.
One thing that our players can look forward to is that a lot of our classic, really rare, and most powerful items from previous titles are going to be returning as unique.
Okay, so they brought back Wind Force. 1,090 damage per second. 793 to 1189 damage per hit. I will say, I like the font more. I still am not 100% a fan of the, like, Microsoft Word layout. Oh, I need to... Oops, sorry. But I think the font is at least looking a little better. 23% damage to distant enemies. 32 all stats. 18% core skill damage. 25% damage to distant enemies. This is an implicit and this is an extra affix, I guess. That just comes on a unique bow. +2 ranks of the Impetus passive, rogue only. Lucky hits with this weapon have up to a 18% chance to deal double damage and knock back the target. Thank you, Canrack. Thank you, Killerman. Okay.
In Diablo 4.
Unique items are very similar to legendaries, but they're unique, which means...
Okay, Ashira's Kanjar, 542 damage per second. Minus 11 from your current weapon. 11.5% damage to close enemies. 21% basic skill damage. 9% damage to crowd-controlled enemies. 25% movement speed for 4 seconds after killing an elite. 7% lucky hit chance. Hits with this weapon increase your attack speed by 4.5 seconds, or by 4.5% for 4 seconds, up to 22.5%. Okay. And what else do we see from this? Attack power 28,000. Armor 4,163. Life is about 10,000. Here we can see the stats.
If that ability is actually on a chest piece.
Blood Artisan's Cuirass, 1,029 armor. 7 damage for 4 seconds after picking up a Blood Orb. 7.5% Blood Orb healing. 2.3% total armor. 1 rank of Bone Spirit. When you pick up 6 blood orbs,
Less
a
than
free
three, less
bone
than
spirit
three.
is spawned, dealing bonus damage based on your current life percent. This is very similar to Immortal. Yeah, again, people went crazy last time I said Diablo 4 has a lot of Diablo Immortal within it. I'm not saying Diablo 4 is pay to win. Trash. I'm saying there's a lot of pieces of mechanics and systems and affixes and whatnot that are brought into assets that are brought into Diablo 4 from Diablo Immortal. That's just truth. There's stuff brought from Diablo 3 as well. It's just, but they're like, if they play, like I sat down and played some Immortal. If you go and play
Give it a
Immortal,
few
you'll be
weeks
like, oh
longer.
yeah, it does
It'll
kind of
be
have
pay to win in no
similarities. UI, item design, there's definitely some similarities there. It's not a pay-to-win trash game, though, D4. I'm just saying.
It's always going to be on that chess piece because it's more powerful than a regular legendary effect.
Crafting is a big part of Diablo 4. We have all kinds of different ways that you can upgrade and interact with NPCs to make your gear better. You can increase the item.
Okay, after immobilizer is off, enemies are slowed by 25% for 4 seconds. Oh, these are aspects.
Level or power of your gear, so you can actually get a piece of gear and just make it stronger. You can also add sockets to your power of your gear, so you
Okay,
can.
so let's see. So this is plus item power. And then I guess all of these are showing what's happening when you do that upgrade. And it just costs gold to upgrade. It's just 18,000 gold. So you get all of the affix get a little boost on them as well. Wow. Yeah, honing from Lost Ark a little bit. I'm hiding material costs. Oh, it's not just gold. You also need 28, 6, and 2. You also need material. Thank you, Sidmo. Gotcha. Yeah, so honing. Okay. Upgrade it up to 4 times.
You can actually get a piece of gear and just make it stronger. You can also add sockets to your gear so that you can put gems inside of it.
Let's go take a look really
And
fast
just
at
make it
that.
stronger. You can also add sockets to your gears.
So Royal Amethyst can be inserted into equipment with sockets. A weapon is 8% damage over time, and armor is 8% damage taken over time reduction, and jewelry is 22.1% shadow resistance. Sell value 4 gold. What? Trash. You guys can't see that. I'll go back over this way. 4 gold. They've gone back to 2 sockets is maximum. 1 socket is, you know, that. I do wish they allowed for more sockets on items. D3 did the less sockets, and I like the more sockets. I think it's a fun, interesting idea.
So that you can put gems inside of it.
There are a lot of different ways that players will be able to customize their experience in Diablo 4. Every single player is going to have a different experience and a different build at the end of the day.
Because we have all of these different
I'm not sure about that. I mean, every ARPG, we all just play the same builds, right?
ways to make your own character, there's a lot more possibility compared to previous titles of how you want to play, how you want to build your character. We really are doubling down on this idea that you can look the way you want, you can play the way you want, you can really make your own fantasy in this game.
Hell welcomes all, and so does Diablo 4. In the coming weeks, we'll be sharing even more about how to play your way. Now, our launch on June 6th is getting closer. Closer still if you got early access. And we can't wait to see you in Sanctuary. Hail Lilith, Blessed Mother.
I love Rod. I mean, it looks great. Honestly, I think that was a decent video. I think there was definitely some pieces of it that were solid. There was one last thing to talk about. There is a skip campaign button that now exists. Now, I am... Everybody seems to love it. Right. Once you finish on one character, you can just skip the campaign for all the other characters. I think I'm just old. I think I'm just old. That's it. Has nothing to do that it wasn't in Diablo 2. But if you skip the campaign in Diablo 2, then you would skip the entire game. I just feel like... Again, I think I'm just old.
Join my army of
That's it. I think
You got that right.
I think I'm just old. And the thing is, you know, a lot of you, especially when you're playing something like Path of Exile, because I get it, because like going through the campaign every single time in Path of Exile, it's a little tiring. But that's because the way that you go through the campaign, the way the game is built and you play the campaign, like, isn't that fun after a couple times through, you know? But there's many campaigns and many games that it's like I'll play through that campaign over and over. It's super fun. But, you know, I'm sure even within Diablo 2, especially online, there's many people it's like, why do I have to get rushed? Just let me skip the campaign and be in the end, you know? Now... the part that I'm actually really confused about this. I mean, yeah, for me, it's like if I'm skipping the campaign, I'm just like uninstalling the game. I'm like, okay, well, that's the game. I did it. But the part I'm really confused is this is a level 50 character. Thank you, Trick. Why is skip campaign on a level 50? Unless this is just within a beta piece, you know, just kind of existing whatever thing. Like they just hero edited some stuff in their testing. But 50 is like max level before Paragon. So I'm curious, maybe this character just like hasn't beaten the final boss in the campaign, and so at any point while you're playing you can just skip the rest of it. Or maybe it's just a beta. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Also, 9 out of 10 slots used. Oof. I hope we get infinite stashes and seasons give us more slots. 10 characters max. Why do they continue to limit the number of characters? I mean, they did the same thing in D2 Resurrected, and it's so annoying. You only get 20 character slots, and after a couple ladders, 3-4 ladders, you don't have any more room. All my characters are like level 99, 94, or whatever, and I have to delete all these like awesome characters so I can play another character. And if there's going to be things shifting to a non-ladder or a non-seasonal, and then I create new characters on the next season, if I create 3-4 characters a season by the 9th month of this game releasing, I'm not going to have any more slots available. So the question then, I guess, becomes, do I have to also buy character slots? Or are they going to give me more characters? After each season, will I get more characters? Nice, Baser. I don't know. But 10 character slots is not a lot. That is nothing. Especially if respec ends up costing a lot and I can skip campaign. I would probably make one of each character each season, and by the end of season 2, I'm going to be done. I don't know. Maybe this will change, but that seems way too small. And like I say, I don't know. Skip game is just a weird thing to me. A lot of people love it. It's an optional thing. They can have it in. Everybody enjoys it. I'm not arguing that they need to remove it. Okay. So just know that. But it's a weird concept to me. Who knows? I'm old. This one makes me officially feel old. Am I never going to use that button? Well, now I have to use it if I want to be competitive. That's the thing. You got to use all those buttons if you're ever trying to compete. It's kind of like I can dislike Enigma, but I'm still going to use Enigma because otherwise my magic finding is just going to be so much worse. I'm going to have less characters I can go magic find on, you know. That's generally the I don't want to say the problem, but the problem with, you know, if Diablo 2 added in a weapon that was plus 100 to all skills and 500,000 damage, every single character would have to use that weapon. Now you could not use it and just like farm slower and just not be like as good at killing things and can't really duel with people, right? But it just, anytime, you know, that comes in, it just creates this like, well, I kind of got to go use that a little bit. So, cool. That is the Your Class, Your Way trailer. Like I said, I think overall pretty solid. I'm very, this was an exciting trailer for me. I think a lot of the things from it were really fun and cool. I'm interested to definitely get into the Paragon boards a little bit more. The transmog system actually does sound kind of interesting and fun to me. You know, I think when you skip campaign, it just gives you all the things from the campaign. Like you get all the waypoints, it unlocks the, you know, just kind of like starts you in the end game with that stuff, all as if you kind of did the whole campaign, I think. Cool. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Mwah! Don't forget to like and subscribe, YouTube. Peace, everybody.